Hello, and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I am a woman on a mission to gather a cadre of writers, thinkers, and teachers who are transforming the world one character at a time. And it all starts with one thing, a deep understanding of human motivation, why people do what they do, and the forces that drive them. And I'm coupling that with the Zettelkasten, so you can see how studying in a specific area carries right through from the source material to the bib card to the main card to the explosion of ideas in a Zettelkasten. So today I am concluding my work with how emotions are made in a particular dive into this book to study pain, suffering, and discomfort with the idea of getting a biological background for the type of courage that involves withstanding suffering. Now, the interesting thing about all of the character traits is that scale can be used at high intensity, such as pain, out-and-out pain, to clearly understand the character trait, and yet all of the aspects of the character trait remain true when the scale drops way down to a minor irritation. And a character who has the certain character trait in a response to that irritation is also going to inform us as authors and inform our readers as to how he will actually perform when the stakes and the scale are much greater. There's a consistency there that maintains. And so sometimes the high intensity makes the character trait a lot easier to understand. So that's why I'm spending the time diving into what's going on biologically, much in the same way that Michelangelo studied human anatomy intensely to be able to sculpt very realistic human form. So let's go to the down-facing camera, and I'll show you what the research led to and where it went in the main cards. Before I head over there, though, I want to share with you an interesting term which I learned for the first time, which is the concept of the nocebo effect. Nocebo effect? I've heard, of course, of the placebo effect. The placebo effect, of course, is when people get better even though they got the phony pill. Well, it's got a slightly more technical definition, which relates to the nocebo effect. In the nocebo effect, someone experiences pain because they expect the pain to arrive. In the placebo effect, a person experiences relief because they expect relief to arrive. So it shows to a great extent the power of expectations, the power of prediction in the experience of these sensations. And furthermore, the same kind of thing happens with emotions. So no more spoilers. Let's go over to the cards and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so here we are with the bib card for Lisa Feldman Barrett's How Emotions Are Made, with the specific purpose of researching patients and looking for patients' pain and suffering. Now here's where we left off yesterday with identifying some of her terms, and today is where I added the new term, the nocebo effect. And the interesting thing is the process of experiencing pain is called nociception. And of course it relates clearly to the word perception, but rather interesting that nociception, and that prefix, noci, relates to pain. Continuing with another bib card here, nerve endings are nociceptors, and even when you are dealing with pain that is not specifically related to tissue damage, some type of pain that used to be called psychosomatic pain, your nerves are actually talking back and forth, and Lisa Feldman Barrett points out that this is not imaginary pain, it is real pain. And then Lisa Feldman Barrett says that chronic pain is ongoing pain without damage to the body tissue. That was a surprise to me because I thought that also chronic pain is often includes ongoing damage to the tissue, that is a chronic damage that's occurring. So that kind of surprised me a little bit. I'm taking that one with a grain of salt at the moment. But in the idea of pain which is purely chronic without damage to tissue, it has to do with the expectation of pain and then not getting the feedback to the brain saying that no, the pain didn't come. And so a key proposition, which I'm collecting now following Adler's systems, the boundaries between mental and physical are porous. That's a quote from Lisa Feldman Barrett. Emotional harm can actually shorten your life. Now, the main card that I made from it picked up on a different piece of information from this book, which is that pain is constructed in the brain through a predictive expectations of pain and the physical stimulus of pain from the nociceptor nerve endings that send those signals of pain. I mentioned the nocebo and placebo effect and that boundaries issue, but I think what is especially interesting was when she pointed out that the pathways in the formation of pain and the formation of emotions are effectively the same, and they both share the mind-body connection, and have that mind-body connection is still a bit mysterious. So then, as is my practice, I supply my own reaction, and I thought it was rather fascinating that the conclusion of this topic implied an area of study that was still very much a mystery. And it occurred to me that this is also the kind of thing that's, of course, happening in cosmology, where in the past, when Einstein went into physics, he was advised, why do you want to go into that field? It's already well known, and we know everything about physics. Ha ha ha, I guess that got turned on its head. And now we're at the point where I think estimates are that we know about 6% of everything by the time you take dark matter and dark energy into account. And apparently now that's also kind of occurring in the study of biology. The more we know, the more we're aware of how little we know. Well, the fun part in this came about when it was time to file the card. I could have gone with a logical thing, emotion, because, with my book, Writing with Emotion, and I have an awful lot of information about emotion. That would have been a logical place to hook it in. But in the process, pursuing all of the connections, which I like to do before I make my choice of where the card is going to go, because after all, I like to let the card itself make sort of an intuitive choice amongst the cards that seem logical. So I was looking for something with that mind-body connection to pick up on that aspect, and I ran into a card that needed to be expanded. Here was one of these dead title cards. It's on a divider already, so I didn't need to make it into one, but all it is the hand-mind connection. It's just a title. And by itself, it connects with nothing because it's just a dead title. So as is my practice these days, if I run headlong into one of these, I will make it into a main card. One of my most common ways of making it a main card, if I'm just in a hurry, you can always Google. And in this case, I just Googled, what is the nature of the hand-mind connection? I want to be fairly objective in turning this into a main card. So this is what I got back from Google, that hands and the mind are closely connected with large areas of the brain associated with the hand, and our cognitive processes are intertwined with our hands. Our hands reveal our thought processes, and using the hands enhances cognitive abilities like memory and attention. So this is often cited as part of the value of keeping an analog Zettelkasten, like an Ananet Zettelkasten, because your hands are involved in the learning process. Well, I guess not surprisingly, when this card was given its opportunity to choose its parent, it wanted this card for its parent. So then I had to recognize the fact that this card already had some child cards, so it needed to get a directory card added before I could put my new card in, which now gets the number 3B2D-3. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's card and today's dive into the Zettelkasten. I continue to be amazed at the power of these dead title cards when they finally get converted into genuine main cards. Once they're really main cards in our system, they have an opportunity to interact and interplay with ideas, and suddenly they come to life. The whole point of the Zettelkasten is that ideas interact. And we can get rid of those dead title cards simply by substituting a real main card with the exact same number, throw the other one away or stick a tab on it so that it functions as a divider. They're always happy to have another divider in the Zettelkasten. But boy, oh boy, let's not treat them as though they were main cards, because they do not have any relational power at all. But it's so fascinating once they do come to life, the interactions that come into play. For instance, when you think about your hand and the large amount of the area of your brain that's devoted to your hand, and how more touch sensations, including like pain, are present in our hands than any other part of our body, it's no surprise that the pain and body connection and the hand-body connection are actually quite similar. The hands turn out then to be an extension of our brains, and that's pretty powerful. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll take another go again next time. Bye-bye.